Hey everyone, welcome to the Wild and Uncut podcast brought to you by Ruger. I'm your host, Kristy Titus. Thank you for tuning in. The line is going hot, so let's go full send on this episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the Wild and Uncut podcast. I'm your host, Kristy Titus, and today I have with me out here in beautiful Southern Colorado, Phil Gillette. He is my NRL Hunt giveaway winner, which a lot of you might not know what the NRL is. Phil, did you know about NRL before the giveaway?
I had no idea. I didn't even know what to expect. You gave me a little bit of research, so I had an idea, and it still blew my mind.
So fill in everybody so they know what you know now. What is NRL?
NRL is taking a lot of aspects of your hunting, shooting, putting a lot of information together to make you a better hunter, a better shooter, and challenging yourself to be aware of things around you that you may not think, or you might think you're very keen on, and all of a sudden realizing, wow, I can't spot the game as good as I thought I could. And when I do, I can't get my equipment ready. Mm-hmm. And then putting that all together and then making the shot. It was absolutely mind-boggling.
So the NRL stands for National Rifle League, and it's a precision-type rifle competition series where people can enter, and there's a couple different categories. They have a hunting category, a lightweight category where your rifle has to meet a minimum criteria. I believe the weight maximum on that category is 12 pounds. And then they have a heavy category where your rifle can weigh up to 16 pounds. And so you take your rifle, your optic, your ammo, and you show up at these matches. Now, if you don't have those things, they can provide them for you for first-time members and shooters. But it's a 2-day course of fire, and targets are, 50 yards on out to, 1,100 yards. And you are given, when you walk up to a stage, a left and right lateral limit. And you have a 4-minute time frame in which you walk up to the stage. You have to find the target, range estimate the target, build your shooting position, dial your dope, get your wind call, and engage the target series. And there's typically 10 rounds per stage. Sometimes that'll be a dynamic with movement. So you might physically move shooting positions, or sometimes it's a dynamic that just has one shooting position and then multiple targets that you would engage. Some are left or right, some are near to far. But every stage over the 2-day course of fire is blind. So you walk in, it's so realistic to like a hunting situation. And so I had teamed up with NRL to try to bring awareness to this non-hunt game. And it's like seriously adrenaline drop when you walk up to a stage. It's so fun. But I did a giveaway with them to where NRL gave the opportunity for someone to come and shoot the match. I had multiple corporate partners join in and help. Hornady provided ammo. I gave you a loaner Ruger rifle to use and a Night Force optic. You had an ATAC R 4-16 on that. And then not only did you get to come and shoot the match, you got to then come and do a management mule deer hunt with me here in Colorado. So we're now on like phase 2 of this giveaway. And it's pretty exciting. We just wrapped Phil's hunt. So Phil, let's go back in time and talk about how you heard about the NRL Hunt giveaway that I was doing, now that everybody knows what NRL is.
I saw it on Facebook, and I've applied for different drawings over the years, and I don't win anything. So I thought, why not? Somebody's got to win it, so why couldn't it be me? And so I put my name in the hat on that and gave my information, and kind of actually forgot about it. I figured I wasn't going to get drawn, so it was kind of lost in the thoughts.
Like a total random surprise. So I call Phil up. I'm like, hey, Phil Gillette, this is Kristy Titus. Do you want to go hunting with me? He's like, are you kidding me? It was so cool. So maybe give everybody, if you want, like a backstory of, where you were with your perspective on that moment. What you were kind of going through when I picked up the phone and called you.
The day that the call came, that Kristy called me, I was having a pretty messed up year. I got in a serious automobile accident, had a reconstructive surgery, found out that I needed some stuff redone. Kind of frustrating. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was looking at my hunting that I gave up bow hunting already for a year, and I thought I'm going to have to do this again. Shoot a rifle periodically, not like I used to, and so I'm thinking, well, can I?
Because you have a military background.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, can I do this? I've got to switch also from left hand to right hand. I changed my eye dominance, and so there was a lot of things going through my head that morning, and my cell phone rings, and I hear, hey, this is Kristy, and I'm thinking, what are you calling me for? And then you tell me that I've won the NRL Hunter match sweepstakes and get to go on a hunt, and it kind of brightened up my day, my year, things I could look forward to. But it also then kind of put a fire under me to say, we got to get ready for this. We're going to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had challenges. I had another reconstructive since we did the NRL Hunter match. Mm-hmm. Which has helped me dramatically. And I've still got things to deal with. But all in all, went from just to kind of a depressing time in things, and you kind of brightened that up for me. So
well, Phil is you are a archer, an avid archer. Yep. You've been so successful archery hunting, and because of this accident you were in, like you said, you've had to hang up your bow for the past year, and rediscovering hunting through rifle hunting this year, albeit probably, I know you're a diehard bow hunter. It's still pretty darn fun to rifle hunt. Like, I love rifle hunting. I love shooting rifles. So I'm glad it gave you kind of something to look forward to and a bright spot, regardless of where you were kind of at with overcoming injury. And it's a terrible accident. Like, you had a bad accident. You're lucky to be alive. Car accident. Like, the dude was hit by a semi, okay? It's not just like a normal car accident. He's tough as nails, and you've overcome so much. So I was super thankful that, you had this opportunity to come out and do this. But Phil, also, you manage a sporting goods store. So you're like a gear and gun junkie.
Yes.
Like, you spend a tremendous amount of time shopping gear, looking at gear. You're heavily involved in purchases for your store and your community, and so this is like super in your wheelhouse.
I deal with the community and people from all over the country every day, coming in for their dream hunts or whatever they're doing, supplying all the gear that they need, and trying to keep up with technology, because if we don't have it, we can't sell it, and the customers want what's new. Mm-hmm. And it's a challenge, but that's what I do 24/7. And so already being in this field and selling some of the equipment that we got to shoot at the NRL Hunter match, but I've never used it.
Yeah.
So getting to learn how to use that and apply it was pretty exciting.
So you first show up. We have never met. We've met on the phone. We show up in Idaho, and I'm like, hey, Phil, I'm Kristy. Here's a gun. And so he has to literally trust me that I have mounted his rifle scope properly, that it's level, that his data's tracking. But we sat down on the 100-yard line, and you were hitting steel. I can't remember the original distances we trued to.
I think the farthest one was 900.
Yeah, it was pretty far.
Yeah.
So I hope that gave you confidence.
It did.
Because obviously the guns can shoot. It would be a human error for me if I made a mistake. So.
Well, once you confirm your zero and you get your 100-yard in, I knew at that point, okay, I got to show up with my A game, because it's not going to be the equipment. It's going to be me.
Well, and you had never used. Now, being from the military, you were familiar with using mills, and obviously you really understand ballistics with your sporting goods background. But you'd never used like a ballistic solver like a Kestrel.
I never have. I've seen it done, but to actually do it is a whole different deal.
Yeah.
And then to trust that, you're looking at this thing going, can it really understand what I'm trying to do here?
Mm-hmm.
And it can. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, it's the whole system. It takes a system to be accurate, and I think we put you with a great system, and we had a lot of fun. And so, day one, mentally, when you stepped out there, you're on up with a borrowed rifle. You've never shot this before. You have no idea what to expect. I mean, this is like trying to drink out of a fire hose. Like, I'm just dousing Phil with, here's this gear, here's that gear, da 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 da. Here's a bag, here's that bag, and like managing it all.
That was a challenge. I struggled with weight transferring from left to right, and then having a shoulder issue. I couldn't carry a heavy backpack, and you carry a lot of gear. I mean, I was impressed. I couldn't imagine that you carried that. You handed me your pack once or twice. I about dropped it and went, wow, like, I can't believe you carry this much. And but at the end of the day, it opened my eyes up to how to use some of that equipment, and how it can improve my shooting. And with a little bit of instruction, between the ROs and yourself, I learned so much about that. And since then I've started acquiring my own gear, reducing some weight for myself, but looking at gear and saying, will this work in my application? So I'm excited to go to future NRL Hunter matches and bring people. It's got to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to be big.
So you walk up to the first stage, and I'm trying to remember our first stage. I think our first stage, we had to run like 80 yards to even get to where the course of fire or the firing line was. So you're instantly like, his first stage, he's like running, like, what am I doing? Running up, and they're like, all right, here's your left and right lateral limit. You want to line up right here. Here's the starting point. Find your targets, and
it was kind of a moment of confusion, because usually I have one set of gear or whatever I'm using, and I adapt and apply and go. With this, I've got to be accurate. I've got to find my targets. Then I find it, I think one of the things that happened was I tried to set up with a bipod and realized this isn't going to work. So then I'm up on the tripod, and in trying to, I'm realizing time's going quickly here. And, once I make the first shot, then it was like, take a deep breath and let's move on. I think I found myself at first trying to push myself on my shots, where what I realized was, take your time, make the shots that you do make them count. But it was a gear challenge at first. But with your help and RO help, as time went on, I started figuring out what works.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of these is, so in a hunting situation, when we walk into the field, everything is blind. We don't know where the deer or elk is going to be. We don't know how far they're going to be. We have all of our gear on our back, so it's a really good simulation of that. You got to throw your gear down. You have to evaluate, okay, well, now, I'm looking at this drainage. Where is the deer? Where's the elk? So you're looking, left to right, near to far, and you have to find the deer and then range the deer and build your shooting position in the same way. So this whole NRL Hunter is designed to really simulate the stress of hunting, but be it physical, the mental stress from the time, and then obviously the equipment stress of putting it all together. How can you build the most stable shooting position as quickly as possible and get those rounds down range accurately? Is a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
But it's just like hunting, so it's actually easy for hunters.
Yes.
Relatively, but it's so fun.
It's I think after about the second second station, I was excited. At that point, it kind of lit a fire in me, and I was having fun. And then the weather rolled in.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we had 20-mile-an-hour plus winds, and then the rain came in, and it threw another whole challenge at it. But you just kind of said, "We're here. Let's do this."
Yeah. And it goes to show you too, how much you can put your gear through and still get performance out of it, because we had inclement conditions. our rifles ran. We didn't blow primers. We didn't have we had zero malfunctions on our firearms all weekend. And we were running, factory Ruger precision rifles. We're both running Night Force ATAC R scopes.
I put that to the test.
Yeah.
Dropping it.
Oh, yeah, you did drop yours a couple of times, didn't you?
Smacked it a couple rocks, yes.
I think what happened is you'd go to put it on the bipod, and
Yes.
I think you keistered it over.
Yep.
And it's like, it's a Night Force. It's okay. Hold the phone. It's not going to be broke. It's cool. And then the rain and the fog and the wind and it was, they shoot rain or shine at those matches. Like, they don't shut it down unless it's fog. And then, if you can't find targets, you can't shoot targets. So that's the only time, that those matches shut down at all is fog. And I think we were shut down at one morning. We had a delayed start maybe, but then after that we fired all day.
Well, we were good till you shot the target down.
I know I did break a target. Like, I shot it, it malfunctioned. But that happens too. I shut down the whole match with breaking that target. But that happens at those too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good to hit them. It's not good to break them, but it's not my fault it broke. That was funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, no, that was a 2-day deal, and for you, like, you just persevered through it like a champion.
There was some stations that I think the one that really got me started and going good is we pulled up on 4 coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you even yelled at me because I didn't really adjust my dope on that. And I was like, they're all under 300. I just put it on them and smacked all of them. Yeah. And, that one kind of lit a fire under me.
Yeah.
And each station is so different. Mm-hmm. You can't think about what's the next one going to bring. Yeah. You're going into a blind. I can't see you shoot. The only thing you're trying to go is, did I hear it hit? Did I hear it hit or impact? Mm-hmm. And when you don't, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
And on the same side of that, what I hear from you after, we're like, wow, you did great on that. I sucked at that. Or you see some of the better shooters maybe did worse on a shoot that you didn't, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Everybody learns.
Everybody shoots their own match out there because, somebody might be applying one wind call when they're shooting a course of fire, and the next person to walk up to the stage is shooting a gust or a lull, and that can gust or lull in between shots even. So yep. It's truly an individual match, even though we're all shooting the same course of fire, and a lot of people are running different equipment too, and not all equipment obviously is the same. So what was your takeaway with the equipment we were using? Because I know you went home and invested in some lightweight gear. What were some of your gear takeaways that you felt were really helpful?
Shooting bags, something that in general, maybe I would throw a jacket or backpack down mm-hmm. out hunting, but they're really not adequate. Mm-hmm. They could work in some application, but having the big airbag was huge. It really, really braced you. It really helped me in my breathing. Mm-hmm. That was probably one of the biggest pieces of equipment that I took from it. Mm-hmm. Having the Kestrel to dial in your winds and all your ballistic information, I'm going to do that from now on for the rest of my life. I can't see shooting any other way. That was probably the 2 biggest, I would say, for myself. I did acquire some tripods as well, which I think for myself will be used more in matches than I would hunting. It depends on the hunting I'm mm-hmm. doing, I guess. But one of the problem for me was cutting the weight. Mm-hmm. I felt like I think I can do 90%. There's certain things you've got to still put weight to be stable, but I think a lot of it for me was that's going to be more manageable for myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I shoot when I'm hunting majority of my animals from a tripod standing, and I have what I consider to be a pretty convertible system because the tripod that I use it for my glassing. I use the same tripod to mount my spotting scope on it. So it's not like I'm carrying my tripod on a hunt just for taking a shot. My tripod's used across multiple platforms. So I can, like I said, set up my spotting scope on it, use it for gridding with my binoculars. And then when the moment of truth comes, man, I do a lot of my stalks with my legs deployed and ready. I can just throw that tripod down and I'm on target and ready to break a shot within, reason of distance really, really fast. And so the tripod has been a huge change for me. And some of the matches that I shot this spring, NRL Hunter, my husband was filming and he noticed, he's like, Kristy, quit trying to do other stuff. every time you get your tripod out, you're fast and you get your hits. And so for me, I've been shooting and hunting with a tripod so long that to me is the best combination for the most part, just because it's just so intuitive for me. So when it comes to hunting, even at these matches, I'm trying to do more with the tripod than leaning on other things. But uneven terrain, tripods can be a nightmare to set up in a match setting. You know, I mean, I love my tack tables. You can throw your rifle on it, and it's like you feel like you're semi-prone. You know,
Yeah.
But getting those legs deployed and deploying them quickly on that uneven terrain, you know, it takes minutes or seconds, and that time takes off time when you could be shooting. So it's not always the most field expedient in a match setting. But from a hunting standpoint, I love a tripod.
You know, I've carried a bipod for a long, long time, and there's been situations where it still wasn't stable enough.
Yeah.
But on the same token, it's been faster on certain when I didn't have time and I needed to get that shot and make it, I could do it. But definitely, even in this hunt, you know, shooting off the tripod, you can't argue with it. It is so much more stable. Yeah. You know, especially when you get somebody shaking and you're trying to get your composure and make that one shot, make it count. It makes a big difference.
And that's what that whole NRL Hunter series is designed to do, is to help you prepare to make that shot count, to have those gear malfunctions or mental mistakes. I think is what gets me in a match setting more than anything, is making mental mistakes. And if I can eliminate mental mistakes, then the practical stuff, you know, my data's tracking, my wind call's good. The practical stuff is there, but it's when I make a mental mistake where I shoot a target sequence out of order or something like that. That type of training in that match setting keeps you out here when we're really hunting. It gives you physical composure, and you don't make as many mental mistakes, and you are more effective at placing those first round hits in a terminal location where you need them to be.
I was going to say on the second day of our match, probably the one that I would have, if it would have happened to me at the beginning of the shoot, I think I would have been really flustered, and I think it would have given me a different composure for the shoot. Was when we were shooting the 4 elk. I went into that one. I didn't hit all 4 elk, but I did make a couple shots and made a couple. You know, I think the first one was like 958.
Yeah, those were long shots.
They were long shots, but it took a little more to find them. I think one of them I couldn't find.
Yeah, that second one was down.
Yeah.
So they went straight across and they threw a curveball where one was down, and it was easy to miss.
But you know, all I could do was kind of laugh and let's do this, and you know, that's kind of, you kind of have a positive attitude to do it, and you know, with everybody's encouragement there, and same thing with hunting. You know, you've always got your friends that are picking on you or doing something. You know, you got to have a good time at it. I can't stress having fun and having a good time, whether you're at a match or whether you're hunting. For me, it's huge. You know, focus is everything once it's time for a game, you know.
And the neat thing about the match, the NRL Hunter match, you can go there and you can sign up as a competitor. You went there and you didn't actually enter the class as a competitor, so then I could kind of walk you through some things because you'd never shot one. Also, the ROs could help you.
They were awesome.
And they were awesome. Now, mind you guys, just to preface this so I don't get hate mail, I shot the course of fire before Phil came in so that I wasn't going to the course of fire knowing what happened. So, you know, you were able to have some coaching, and that's the cool thing about that series, is they really want people to come in and learn and take it to the field, which we're in Colorado now. And, you know, you came out here, we applied everything that you learned or that we practiced at that NRL match from zeroing. I mean, what was the first thing we did here?
Shot 200 yards.
Made sure our data was tracking.
Yeah.
First thing, like, we are not going anywhere. We're checking data. And
we had to do a couple of adjustments and got her done.
So we flew here, and you just had literally at 200 yards what we had 0.2 of a mil of windage adjustment. So it was very insignificant, but it was significant enough we needed to do it. But it wasn't, we weren't super far off.
No.
And you know, coming out here, we saw, I don't even know how many animals we've seen.
I've lost count. It's a lot.
It's been insane.
And a lot of species.
Yeah. Yeah, we've watched bucks, dog, and does. We've watched bucks fighting. Elk.
Lots of elk.
I feel like thousands of elk. That would be exaggerating, but it's like so many elk.
Antelope everywhere.
Bighorn sheep.
Bighorn sheep. Yep.
Yeah, and you've gotten to take everything that we took from NRL Hunter out here in the field. Same equipment, same. We're running a Night Force. You ran an SHV on this one, a 4-14. Also in Mills, also an F1. You were shooting a Ruger 6.5 Creedmoor Ruger American, 120 grain Hornady Outfitter ammo. Just thumped your buck.
Oh, it put the smack down for sure.
Yeah. So we see these deer, and they're bedded, and I'm instantly rattled. And Phil's over here like,
let's do this.
like he's like calm and collect, like no big deal. And I'm like, man, I'm like setting up my tripod and my spotting scope, and I'm like getting the shakes, and I'm so excited. Like,
well, we still don't even know what the buck is for sure.
no, but I'm
We
still
know he's-
shaking.
we
You
know
can
he's
tell he's
mature.
old with his. He's like part of his face showing. Like, he's an old deer. His neck is flipping giant,
Yes.
all swelled up, and I'm like, nothing.
And then you said something.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah.
and the next thing you know, I've got the shakes.
Yeah.
I'm over there going, why am I shaking? I don't do this.
Blame me. It's fine. It's fine. No, we the buck was what, 260 yards?
Yep.
Yeah, and we had set a 200-yard zero for you, so you were at 0.4,
Yep.
and you dialed up to what, 0.7?
0.7, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's perfect.
Oh, yeah. I put the round where I wanted to put
Yeah.
it.
And you're an archer.
So that being said, I don't believe in shooting shoulders, et cetera, because I want to eat the meat.
Yeah.
And I believe in using every bit I can. And so for me, I was like, I got 10 inches easy behind that front shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm going to back off that and put it in the ribs. And, I get the philosophy, you take the lungs out, they can't breathe, they can't run.
No.
And that's pretty much what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it was like this guy definitely shoots a bow. It was perfect.
Well, that buck had some fight in him.
yeah, he did.
He was wanting to know what just happened, and he wasn't going down.
Well, he had a bunch of does with him, so it's like December 2nd. Well, today's the 2nd, I think, isn't it? What is today? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm losing track of days. First week of December. It's 70 degrees.
72, actually.
72. But the bucks are still running, and that
It's
dude
crazy.
did not want to leave those does,
Yeah.
which I don't blame him. They were some pretty hot chicks. But, yeah, he
met the criteria perfect, too.
Yeah.
For taking a management buck. For me, I'm not going into – for me, every deer's a trophy. I'm not looking for this 180 buck. I'm looking for what needs to be done for the management of where you're at and being able to harvest that animal to benefit the future of the mule deer there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we accomplished.
Yeah, we thought at first when we were looking at this buck, we thought, well, he's a 6-year-old deer. He looked old. Once we caped him out, Johnny's a wildlife biologist, and he's like, this deer's 7, 8 years old.
Yep.
He had like hardly any teeth left. They were worn down, and he was so massive compared to those does.
Oh, dwarfed him.
Like, I feel bad for those things. Like, that was a big animal. Like, those poor does are like half his size.
Yep.
He was enormous. Like, just huge and perfect shot, everything was perfect. Just couldn't have been any better.
And no offense to not having any snow, the weather was great.
Oh, yeah, I know. I enjoy the sunshine, but it can make the hunting a lot more challenging.
Yes.
I think the rut has been a lot slower this year, and things have been slower. Now, you did one other rifle hunt prior to this one, though.
Yes, I had a rifle elk hunt in eastern Oregon. I drew a tag on, and pretty much took my best friend and I drew the tag together, and I went into that whole hunt to have a good time and just be together and have just experience the hunt, and was able to succeed. Put an elk in the cooler, and made a great shot on it, and I made a running shot on it, which is not my norm. I think the first things I heard yell after I pulled the trigger was, "What do I got to do? Scare him for you to hit him?"
Yeah.
But I felt real confident shooting from the right. I had my shooting sticks. I don't know that I could have made that shot necessarily yet on a freestand, swinging from right to left.
Okay, I don't shoot free-handed ever.
and
Like I missed a coyote the other day in my yard trying to do that, and that's the last time I'll ever try it again.
Well, and it doesn't get easier getting older,
No.
and especially after you ran up a hill and you're getting set up, and there's so much going through there. I'm not 18 anymore, and then dealing with injuries, I've got to put all that stuff together and use the equipment that's meant for it.
Did you bring any new equipment on that particular hunt that maybe you picked up in use during the NRL Hunter match?
I had a shooting bag. I also had my tripod, and I had my bipod as well. I haven't finished acquiring all the other equipment, but I did have one of my airbags with me if I had the opportunity, because we do hunt a lot of sagebrush, a lot of open
By
country.
airbags, you mean soft fill bag, not
Correct.
literally air.
Correct.
Okay, Roger.
Yep. Yep. So I brought those so that if the application could apply itself, that I would definitely use those. But in our situation, we were kind of in a timber pocket outside the sagebrush, and things went down in seconds. It was kind of a mad scramble.
So I'm assuming this is more like not a driven hunt, but that type of hunt where you're close in range. How far were you?
I shot the elk at probably about 200 yards.
Yeah, well, that's pretty far. Okay, I'm impressed.
Most of the time we're out in the sagebrush, you're going to be anywhere from 150 to 500 yards. I personally believe, because I'm a bow hunter, I'm going to get closer first, and I feel I owe that to the animals a lot of times. It's not saying that you can't take a successful long range shot, but I really believe in whatever your skill level is and et cetera, you learn at the match. You have days, I don't care if you're a great shooter or not, 500-600 yards with the wind or whatever, you can miss targets.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to do is wound something. So
I always take the notion to get close,
as
close as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I always strive for. Sometimes in my life, moving in closer, all of a sudden I realize I'm 40 yards away with my rifle, and I've got a buck looking at through the sage at me that knows something's not right, and I'm going, where's my bow? But having the right equipment and having the confidence, from that shoot, I practiced a little bit through the summer. I didn't do other than try to get through the next surgery. I needed that booster to get me so that I could say I'm going hunting.
Yeah.
I had an archery deer tag actually also, and in that perspective, I have a draw lock. I actually really didn't hunt. I didn't feel very confident with it. I went out for 2 days and took somebody else out elk hunting on the same token. But that being said, I knew I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
And so I was glad I was able to, by elk season, go.
Yeah, that's good. And your freezer's full.
Yes.
And you're taking home a mule deer from this trip also, which is going to eat good.
Yes.
And so your family's set for groceries this year, but it sounds like you're pretty successful every year at filling the freezer. So
I do pretty good.
That's impressive. Any big takeaways for people listening that maybe would, words of inspiration to get them to sign up to enter an NRL Hunter match?
I think it goes for beginners. I think it goes for the people who have been doing this for 20, 30 years. A lot of us are old school. We look at this new technology and we're scared of it. I'll be honest with you, with a little bit of instruction and watching people and asking questions, it's not that tough. There's so much information out there you can watch online or just go ask somebody. There's so many people willing to help you. I would definitely say do it for your own good, because it will make you a better shooter. I don't care how long you've been doing it. And it's great practice. It gets you more in tune with your own equipment. It also tells you maybe I need to change some equipment. And you get to see so many diverse shooters at the shoots that you're gonna take something new home from that.
Yeah.
But if you're a beginning shooter, I would say don't be intimidated by it. Those people are there to help you. We're all there to help each other, and you'll go from the guy that's maybe been a beginning shooter for 5 years who's never taken the time to do that. I believe that even after just a couple of NRL Hunter matches, you will pass that person that's been doing or attempting to hunt for 5 years.
Well, there's a lot of hunters that don't even shoot 20 rounds of ammo a year.
Yeah.
And when you shoot a NRL Hunter match, you shoot, was it 200 rounds or 400 rounds?
It was 2, I think.
200 rounds, yeah. I'm getting my wires crossed with the pistol classes I've been taking, my round counts. So yeah, it's 100 rounds a day.
Yep.
So it's a lot of ammo that you're powering through. You're developing a lot of muscle memory.
Yep.
And it's just going to make you more proficient when you get out in the field. You'll be more prepared. And, there's a lot of times I think I've seen people where they're on an animal and they're so excited they almost black out.
Yeah.
They become a little incoherent where they're so excited. There's so much adrenaline.
Breathe.
They fall apart.
Yeah.
And I do too at times. I mean, trust me, like this year I'm in the whitetail stand with my rifle and I'm so excited. These whitetail are running in front of us. I'm shaking the whole stand and my husband's like, Kristy, you have to stop shaking. Like I can't even video deer because I was so excited. So if I ever lose that, I'm going to quit. But these matches help you prepare with how to deal with that, how to get through that mental process, how to remain successful, keep your composure, make those shots count, even when you're that amped up.
Yeah, one of the big things I take that I kind of put two and two together that I've seen in the last 10 plus years, being in the sporting industry, dealing with customers daily, some states, not all states, but some of our states, it's taken 5, 6 to 10 years to finally draw a tag to go rifle hunt. And so what do? They put their gun, not everybody, but majority of us, I'm going to say, is put your gun in the safe and it sits there.
Mm-hmm.
And
you take it out and you go get on the bench. And you're all sandbagged in and you shoot your gun off the bench.
And, as an archer.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
As an archer, what do we do to practice all year? We had fun shooting 3D shoots, courses. And the NRL Hunter match is going to take you to that and then some.
Yeah.
But it allows you to get back under your firearm, keep it prepared, be ready. And then maybe it'll inspire you to venture away and do different hunts that are open to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and shooting is such a perishable skill regardless. The more you shoot, the better you are. And it is a perishable skill, developing that unconscious competence and that muscle memory to work through challenges. Or if you have a stability issue, knowing instantly, hey, if I put my backpack under my elbow, I'm going to get steady. Hey, Johnny, bring me my backpack, and then throwing it under an elbow. And you might not know that unless you run through, a challenging series. And I don't want to discourage people from shooting on the bench, but get off the dang thing and shoot. Use a tripod, use a backpack, practice unconventional shooting positions, use natural elements that you would find on a hunt and shoot off of those, practice off of those. That's how you're going to get better.
Yeah. Learn how to spot your game.
Yeah.
Then, find out how far that game is. It's one thing to say, I think it's about 400 yards, and then, pull over and pull the trigger and hope for a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
With the way they teach you and the way you see everything being done, it brings things pretty darn, accurately. I mean,
it is. There's no reason for that. With the technology, we can have point of aim, point of impact accuracy with most firearms, optic and ammunition combinations. Now, you're only as good as your firearm is repeatable and your optic is repeatable, and your ammo can deliver, solid velocities. And the other component is the human, so if your gun hates your ammo and you're shooting a 2-inch group at 100 yards, it's going to be tough. So knowing this in advance, taking as much out of the equation, eliminating margin of error to where it's just you. Yep. That's where we have the best success. And then if we can take ourselves with our training, we always think that you will rise up to occasion. You always fall back to your lowest level of training. Well, if you've only shot off the bench with a sandbag under zero pressure, you might fall apart on a hunt.
Definitely.
When it counts.
Yep.
And that's not the time to be doing it. Train at home, train right. And you don't have to train with your hunting rifle. You can train with a 22. You can train dry fire practice. You don't even have to shoot. You can practice at home in your backyard dry firing. Ammo out of the room, never a firearm and ammo together, double check, triple check, quadruple check, and do that dry fire practice in a safe zone, with your firearm facing a safe space, like a fireplace is a really good place to dry fire against. And let your family know, hey, I'm doing dry fire practice. Get your tripod out that you're taking hunting. Whatever shooting sticks you buy at the sporting goods store, practice with them. Make sure you like them. How high do you like the shooting sticks deployed for where you have a good sight picture? Are you more stable with your feet? I shoot with my feet super wide. Some people like their feet a little more narrow. Learn all of these things. Where's the balancing point on your rifle? How are you going to get the best stability so you're not driving that rifle around off your rest? And you can practice this stuff anywhere year-round, and it will ultimately translate into being a more effective hunter. And we saw the proof was in the pudding on this trip. You had one shot on your buck.
Well, and on note on that too, something that I've always done is when I don't feel good on the shot, you'll see me take another breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's huge. You know, recovery on your breathing is everything, because it's a difference in just in a heartbeat or watching yourself fluctuate. Your crosshairs leave the animal.
Yeah.
And that's another part you can do in your practice. Walk around your house and then grab your firearm and put it on that tripod and see how fast you can get back on target.
Mm-hmm.
You know, take deep breaths, let it out, you know, and all that stuff works.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does.
Got to practice.
Practice is everything. Well, and that's where I want to hopefully encourage everybody listening and watching to get out there and practice. I also want to take a moment. I want to thank a couple people that helped make this opportunity possible. First of all, obviously the National Rifle League. Second of all, Safari Club International helped get you on this hunt, and I want to thank all of you there at Safari Club. And then you got gear from Cryptek, Allen Company,
yes.
Arcus Company, Onyx Maps sent you mapping technology. Dead Downwind.
Yes.
So that's part of the Arcus family. Dead Downwind sent you stuff. So we had a lot of people that really helped you here, get you here, make sure you had the right gear to be here. And so I want to just take a moment to thank you guys. Hornady provided all your ammo for the match,
I can't thank them enough.
That's like gold. Obviously, we all know that. So thank all of you guys for helping make this possible. I want to thank you, Phil, for taking time out of your life, not only once but twice, once to shoot the match with me and then again to come here to Colorado with me and put this all together. It's been an awesome journey.
I can't say enough. It's a big thank you to everybody.
Yeah.
It's really helped me try to get my confidence back. At the same token, everybody that I've met has been just awesome to hang around and be there for just a good time and have fun.
Absolutely.
The sponsors, everybody needs to realize I sell a lot of this equipment, and the sponsors are huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's opened my eyes up to new products to even bring in to sell. And at the same token, without the sponsors, we can't do this. Mm-hmm. Companies, everybody needs to support each other. Yeah. But and I just thank you for bringing me along. This has been awesome.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in to this latest episode of the Wild Uncut podcast. And we will hope to see you all live from the field soon. Thank you for listening to the Wild and Uncut podcast. If you would like to hear more, be sure to subscribe to my Pursue the Wild digital series on YouTube and follow me at Kristy Titus on Facebook and Instagram.